Good evening. It is a chilly evening here in Hobbit land. And I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to share something with you that may help you if you are concerned about health, energy, wellness, fitness, diet, weight, all of those, that whole cluster of things about how well we can function and how well we can feel and how well we can look. Uh, and that is the Whole Me Diet. And this is just a brief introduction to the Whole Me Diet. The Whole Me Diet does not focus just on what you eat. Most diets focus on what you eat. That is important. There are other questions, though, like uh, why do you eat? How do you eat? Where do you eat? When do you eat? With whom do you eat? And I would invite you to think about all those things. We'll have a lot more to say about those in the future, but hopefully just thinking about eating in those terms will be helpful. And specifically, if you talk about why do you eat? Uh, we as human beings experience, well, I mean, we experience hunger. And so you're going to say, well, we eat. I mean, that's maybe a silly question, but why do we eat? We eat because we're hungry. Well, yes, hungry for what? It's been shown that adults especially don't do too well in distinguishing between hunger and thirst. Many people go around dehydrated and eating because they think they're hungry when actually they are thirsty. Likewise, we may confuse, in fact, often do confuse spiritual hunger for physical hunger. And if you do not satisfy that, well, let me put it in positive terms. To be fulfilled, you first of all need to fulfill that spiritual hunger. And one of the key foundational principles of the Whole Me Diet is you do that through Jesus. That is, you must fill yourself up with Jesus. One of the toughest things he said was that his body was true food and his blood true drink. And he lost a lot of disciples when he said that. But if you think about it, that he is the Word, as John says at the beginning of the Gospel of John, that he is the Word come into the world, the Word made flesh. And so it's pretty easy to understand in that context that we do really need to feed on the Word. We need to feed on Jesus, on the Word come to life, the Word of God come to life. That's what we need to feed on every day, every day. If we do not, there's little hope of us mastering our physical hunger, because our spiritual hunger will spill over into our lives and disguise itself as some other type of hunger, possibly physical hunger, that's possibly hunger for food. So that's just one important concept to share with you this evening. And let me give you a little tip that you may find useful, and that is to pray for a sanctified appetite. Appetite is not the same thing as hunger. Uh, Hunger is a fundamental human drive, which usually gets transformed through appetite into the actual object of what we want to eat, the object of our desire, the thing that we choose to satisfy our hunger. And that thing that we choose is generally influenced by or dictated by our appetite. And appetite is very much socially contextual. That is, it's conditioned by the society and the situations in which we grew up. And if you grew up in the United States, you might have an appetite for, who knows, hot dogs or hamburgers. And If you grew up in India, well, then you might have an appetite for curry rice or some other such dish. So my tip here is regarding appetite that you can actually pray for a sanctified appetite. Did you ever think about that? In fact, you can pray for a sanctified appetite in every aspect of your life. You may have other appetites other than the appetite that drives you to eat too much of this or too much of that, too much ice cream or too much popcorn or whatever. So pray, try it out. Pray for a sanctified diet regarding what the things that you eat and regarding every other aspect of your life, and see what the Lord does for you in providing you a sanctified diet. So we will be visiting again soon, I hope, and I hope that meanwhile that these ideas will be of some benefit to you. Good night.